Hebrew, and comparing it to the English translation is so amazing. I can't wait to show you.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
These are the symbols for the heavens. Now it appears that the planets are all ringed. And what I'm really getting at is that the heavens and the earth, the heavens literally are the planets, the earth being one of them as well. Mind you, the water's already here.
Now the earth was formless and empty.
So this is the earth being formed by underwater volcanoes, I would imagine. It just seems that way.
Darkness was over the surface of the deep.
Just deep, dark waters with all of the elements inside the earth and the metals.
And the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters.
The way I'm seeing this is like stacking Russian dolls, but more like spheres. Spheres within spheres within spheres. And this would be a top view of it.
You see, when your theology get right, your system can understand what the Bible was talking about.
I feel like I always have to say I'm not a flat earther, but...
And God said, "Let there be light."
It is possible then to bring into the inside something from the outside and set up a conversation, an intelligent conversation, which will then spin off and be a source of instruction to the person.
The music you're about to hear was done by my husband. He recorded all instruments and mixed it all himself. He's an amazing musician.
And there was light. God saw that the light was good.
I've been thinking about the way it used to be, too wrapped up in my own thoughts to see that I am free. I am free. Bricks in my wordplay, the attraction, woven into my own net of self-pity that restricts me from the norm. I am free, free from the confines of the game, just callous my trembling hands, so long. I'm quietly watching the show.
And he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day.
Day 2, Genesis 1:6 to 1:8.
And God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water."
I mean, it is possible. Look at this. I can't believe I even found this video. Check this out. There's literally an air bubble there. And I've seen other experiments too, but this guy's was pretty awesome.
So God made the vault and separated the water under the vault from the water above it.
This is an aquarium in Seattle.
La cosa più strana che magari in video non si vede è che escono proprio le nubi di vapore dalla bocca come se fosse inverno. Eppure qua fa caldo. Si vedono tutti i piccoli pesci e la canoa si trova là sopra.
Again, I am not a flat earther, but the model fits, okay?
And other things look completely different. Water, for example. There were 3 containers of water on the countertop, and they recorded black. As I panned the camera, it passed the aquarium, and it too recorded. While reviewing that video, I noticed something that gave me pause. I noted that the sky was the same shade of black that was recorded of the water in my house the night before.
And it was so. God called the vault sky.
Here's something that I bet probably none of you have heard of. Aeropause. It's a layer of the atmosphere that we can't get out of. These are the layers of the atmosphere that we are taught about, but they don't put aeropause in there.
And there was evening, and there was morning, the second day.
And he's still at it to this day. CERN, the Hadron Collider, he's looking for a way out.
That sound right here is the LHC. It's a CERN magnet, and when it turns on, it makes this sound. And CERN has direct involvement with musicians to play the sounds of the music of the spheres with this thing.
There you go, building your wall inside your mind again. No, you are blind to what is on the other side, but still you're breathing and somehow succeeding at your picture perfect life, but you'll never ever spend.
Day 3, Genesis 1:9 through 1:13.
And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." And it was so.
He turned the aquarium into a terrarium.
God called the dry ground land.
And just like this, from underwater volcanoes, the earth comes right up and out of the water.
And the gathered waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good.
So let's keep in mind the word good. Now remember, up and coming is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Certain days are not considered good.
Then God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants."
Now, as we all know, plants really love the sun, but they were put in place before the sun. The sun doesn't come until tomorrow. Interesting, isn't it?
And trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds. And it was so.
Notice that the fig is in there, and the fig tree plays a big part as well. The fig is actually a flower, not a fruit. We'll get into that.
The land produced vegetation, plants bearing seed according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day.
Day 4, Genesis 1:14 through 1:19.
And God said, "Let there be lights in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times,
Sacred times being the 4 seasons.
and days and years."
Vault also translates as firmament. In Spanish, firma means signature, so it sounds like God's signature.
And let them be lights in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth. And it was so.
Notice that the lights are in the vault, inside.
God made 2 great lights,
2 great lights. There they go together. The moon and the sun. And this is during a new moon phase. This is where you're going to see why it's very important to take a sentence and stop. That's the 2 great lights. There they
the
are.
greater light to govern the day,
The sun to govern the day, and the moon is out during the day as well.
and the lesser light to govern the night.
Boom, it's Polaris. And this is why.
He also made the stars.
Because the stars follow Polaris. Now the celestial sphere shows them like as if they're pasted to the top, but they're at different altitudes so that they don't collide as they're moving.
God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the 4th day.
Day 5, Genesis 1:20 to 1:23.
And God said, "Let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky." So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every living thing with which the water teems, and that moves about in it, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them, and said,
Bless is to consecrate by a religious rite, to make holy, or give thanks, or to hallow with blood.
Be fruitful, and increase in number, and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said, Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, the livestock,
Basically the tame animals,
the creatures that move along the ground,
all the things that women are scared of.
and the wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so.
All the gorgeous wild animals that we put in zoos.
God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, Let us make mankind.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, is man is to furnish a fort or a ship with a company of men.
And in our image, in our likeness.
Image, to form a mental picture of something, to imagine. Likeness is a representation of an object, that which resembles another, a like shape or form.
So that they may rule over the fish in the sea,
Again, it's a principle or maxim governing conduct.
and the birds in the sky, over the livestock, and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it.
Subdue is to conquer and reduce to subjection, to deceive or seduce. Let's think about the garden for a second there. And subjection means obedience, submission, servitude, bondage, lordship, control.
Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day.
I really wonder if this is what God meant by rule over the fish. This is insane.
Think of it as a water park ride, but for fish and eels. Man-made dams hinder the path that fish take to their annual freshwater spawning grounds. However, this system helps millions of fish, including salmon, eel, lamprey, sturgeon, steelhead trout, etc., safely migrate thousands of miles to reach their natural destination.
Far as we can tell, there were 7 things that happened on day 1. It was all a thought in God's mind.
Planet Earth is the reference point of creation.
So that ring systems can be formed during the birth of the parent planet, from leftover dust and material which is too close to the planet's surface to be able to coalesce into a moon. Therefore, it may be the case that ring systems exist wherever there are moons to be found.
Wherever there are moons to be found, they came with the birth of the planet. So therefore the moon was there on day 1. That was the original light. That was the light on day 1. People, you feel me?
Number 7 is a sacred number in the Hebrew Bible, beginning with the book of Genesis. The main narrative of the creation of heaven and earth revolves around 7 and the week of creation. And planet Earth, which was created in one day with heaven, is deeply connected to 7, since God described it as the earth which I swore. The Hebrew word for swore, nishbati, derives from Sheva, 7, In other words, the earth which God swore is the earth which God acted upon using the principles of 7, like a division into 7 parts, or 7 days. In biblical Hebrew, there is no such thing as day, since day is only a name given to light. Let there be light, and Elohim named the light day. So the act of creation is an act with 7 aspects of light. In this video, we will try to find out if the creation story based on the division of the whole into 7 is an abstract myth or has empirical proof or factual basis. Since the idea of creating a world in 7 days may sound absurd at first, and rightly so, but as we shall see, the paradigm of 7 seems to have a scientific anchor in reality. According to the book of Genesis, creation is a drama that takes place first and foremost on the stage of heaven, astrophysical theater that puts on colossal plays for all to see, grandiose performances of solar eclipse and lunar eclipse designed to show and remind the perfect accuracy of creation. And with the help of 3 key actors, the sun, moon and earth, prove time and time again that this is a pre-calculated and planned space engineering. Creation is deeply invested in show business, because the truth in heaven has a unique quality, it loves to be seen. Solar or lunar eclipse silently ringing in the sky like church bells, announcing the start of an epic showcase designed to draw our attention to the megastructure that is moving in space, so that we'll recognize the fact that creation is the result of intelligent engineering design, a calculated work down to the last meter. Since we know the true size of the planets today, it is possible to test the paradigm of creation based on 7 and compare it to the true dimensions of Earth and the planets in the context of number 7 and of the word swore, shevuah, derivative of 7, God's chosen word to describe planet Earth. So, the earth that God swore, usually and mistakenly translated as the Promised Land, is actually the earth which God, Nishba, divided to 7 parts, acted with the principle of 7. And the sky can only be explored from Earth. This is the starting point. Solar and lunar eclipses were planned for and observed as such only from Earth. And Earth, which was created with heaven, in one day preserves the decimal system, which is the mathematical base of Hebrew, the language of God, of Gematria, arithmetic, and Hebrew geometry. The circumference of planet Earth, 40,000 kilometers, is the circumference of a decimal square, 10,000 kilometers by 10,000 kilometers. And a decimal square, as we know, is the base of the Holy of Holies in Shlomo's temple, the Dvir. So in order to calculate the diameter of planet Earth, we'll divide the circumference of the decimal square 40,000 kilometers to pi, 3.14, and the result, 12,727 kilometers, indeed is the diameter of planet Earth in reality as well. As we see, the decimal count is the mathematics of nature, as well as of the Hebrew language, Hebrew theology, geometry, and gematria. And this decimal count is preserved in the basic physical principles of Earth, simply in its circumference, a reminder and preserver of the decimal system and of the Holy of Holies, of the temple in heaven, in the sky. So let's draw planet Earth in its real size and divide it into 7 parts. This is the Earth which I swore, and it contains all. Genesis is the word kotel, meaning diameter. So the Book of Formation points at sacred geometry, and the Zohar points to the moon and to the world of creation. These are the 2 keys needed to understand the linguistic structure and the physical structure of the earth which God swore. So let's return to Earth heptagonal and the moon and see how the natural philosophy of creation based on 7 unfold. We'll connect 7 points of intersection between the 7 moons, and strengthen them with 1 circle, and the result 12,727 kilometers, indeed, is the diameter of planet Earth in reality as well. As we see, the decimal count is the mathematics of nature, as well as of the Hebrew language, Hebrew theology, geometry, and Hebrew gematria. And this decimal count is the mathematics of nature, as well as of the Hebrew language, Hebrew theology, geometry, and Hebrew gematria. Now we discover Mars in its true size, diameter 6,900 kilometers. When we mark the external boundaries of the heptagon and measure the height from the apex to the base, we discover the diameter of Venus, 12,098 kilometers. Let's dive deeper and connect the 7 vertices of the inner heptagon, formed naturally in the geometric matrix, again with a circle. This time we discover Mercury in its true diameter, 4,542 kilometers. Finally, within the circle of Mercury, rotates Pluto in its true diameter, 2,271 kilometers. We consider nature as the absolute, and the facts in nature show us that the Earth, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and even Pluto, in their true physical size, in reality, were designed according to the heptagonal matrix of planet Earth. The Earth, which God swore, is the standard model of the solar system, at least the inner half. Planet Earth is the reference point of creation, or is the point of reference, and the planets, revealed in the heptagonal plan, serve as the empirical and factual proof that the main paradigm of creation, based on 7, is practically true. This plan shows that as above, so below. Everything above in the sky is also found down in Earth. But the match between the dimension of the planets in the geometry of 7 and in reality makes it difficult to distinguish between the simulation and the real world. And this is an illustration and an explanation to another biblical quote, Melo haaretz kvodo, the whole earth is filled with his honor. The planets fit in perfectly.
So now that the astronomical stuff is in place, now it's time for the astrological stuff.
Astrology is not an invention. Astrology is right on the money. But there's only one problem with astrology, that it's very limited. So first of all, I'm talking about the astrology that Judaism teaches, not the astrology that non-Jews teach.
So we have the solar eclipse fast upon us, and the next video to come I will go ahead and cover chapter 2 of Genesis. And the reason why it's only the 6 days of creation is because that's where the chapter ends, at the 6th day. Chapter 2 begins at the 7th day. So I'm hot on the trail to compare also chapter 2 to chapter 1, and that's another mind blower too right there. So also in the works is to read to you the transliterated version of the Bible from Hebrew direct into English with no fuss, no mess in between. And I think you're really going to totally enjoy it. So thank you for doing this with me. Talk soon.